Here's a problem I had too with my mother, father, and psychiatrist. There was a Dr. Rosenblum. Now, he was writing a book, so he was profiting off of my mother's fantasies. My mother was making up stories, and I was telling my mother, father, and the psychiatrist that my mother was telling stories. She's lying about me. This bothers me. I try to remember something. I can't. I have tics. There was plenty of things I mentioned, but they were ignoring me. They were putting me on large amounts of medication, and the doctor was writing a book about me as my mother tells stories about me. He must have been writing down lots of stuff he was assuming based on my mother's information. Now, as a child, I didn't know how these things work. I didn't know how a book gets written. I didn't know how psychiatrists prescribe medication. Didn't know how they put down reports. I also didn't know something that's really important to understand. If it wasn't put down on paper, it never happened. I didn't know that as a child. I also knew my mother was telling stories about me and lying about me, but I didn't know why nobody else believed me, and I was told to be quiet or people just overruled my truth. My mother would say something, I would say, "Hey, that's just made up." She would say, "No, it isn't." And then they would say, "Oh, Zach, be quiet," or something like that, and then it just gets put down. So as a child, I was told that my mother and father can do whatever they want. There are no consequences for adults. If she wants to overdrug me, if she wants to do something illegal like drink and drive, if they want to keep an unregistered gun in the house, if they want to not report my symptoms, if they want to give me an overdose, if they want to give me extra medications as a punishment, if they want to blame me, if they want to make up stories about me, if she wants to make up stories about me, if they want to take away my accomplishments, my medals, any one thing I won, if they wanted to ignore my needs like food, education, or hospitals, they had that right. And if I was told to jump off a bridge, I'm supposed to. I was told that no matter what it is, if I'm supposed to jump. And the psychiatrist back reinforced these crazy ideals. So, I of course, as long as the psychiatrist wasn't holding me down, drugging me, or hurting me, as long as they smiled and acted nice, I did not have a problem with them because I did not know very much. But as I got older and learned how things worked, I could realize the atrocities that were being done to me. But by then it's too late, and my mother's already moved on to new atrocities. So if you ask my father, he'd probably tell you, "Oh, Zach loved those psychiatrists. He loved being in the car, getting sick to his stomach, car sick for 2 hours, going into Boston in traffic. He loved sitting there having his mother make up stories or blow things out of proportion. And then he loved sharing deep down, really, really traumatic stuff, like how he had a swimming medal taken away or an overdose at age 7, and then have everybody ignore him completely and shoot it down, and the mother just call it stories or call me a liar when I'm sharing real damn stuff that happened that she's already admitted to, things that she's already discussed, things that she knows is real, but she just wants to dodge the question because this is her psychiatrist. She's paying him. She wants to go all this far distance. They're writing a book about me. My mother gets to freely make up stories about me, and my father will sit there and nod. I mean, one of these days, you know what I did? I sat there and drew a picture of my father for the whole hour as my mother ranted about me, and made up. I mean, some of it was true, but she would take one little thing, and twist it into a psychiatry bullshit fantasy, and then try to add more drugs. And when those drugs cause drowsiness, or a simple side effect that caused further problems, like falling asleep in the morning or having headaches, then she would go off the rails and blame me because I don't want to see this. Of course, it's affecting my behavior, it's affecting me. Seeing my mother take my own Vicodin then lie about it, then my father act like it's no big deal, and then my mother turns around and blames me for her own drinking, of course that's going to affect me. I'm a kid trying to grow up. Don't forget, before this, I'm a child who's getting made fun of because he's not allowed to get clothing, while all the other orphans and children in this orphanage slash program in Haverhill called Crossroads, all the other kids go in the big van. They go to the mall to go clothing shopping, but I have to stay in my room, and I'm told to ask my father why this happens every month. And when I ask my father, he lies. And then I just go another month without clothing, another month without clothing, another month. And if you ask my father, he'll tell you I bought him clothing. Yes, he did, just not enough of it. Just not enough for a growing boy. That's all. The amount he was spending on clothing was so little that I was made fun of for being the least clothed kid in every school and every program I ever went to. And when I brought this up to my father, all he had to say is, "Those orphans don't get $200 a month. I'm not giving you anything." And then that would be it. He would say, "Be quiet. When I tell you to stop asking about your clothing, that means it. I'll bring you to I'll bring you to Kay's Market to get some jeans in a little bit." Then 3 months might go by, or my mother might scream at him. They bring me out. He looks upset. My mother keeps on saying, "Get some clothing." I pick out a cart full of clothing. We go, and then a year goes by with nothing. Now, by the time I need shorts, I realize, oh, those were jeans. I need shorts. Oh, well, I can't go because I'm in a program and my